Hey guys, I'm Erin and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing a, winter TBR or like end of the year TBR. I've kind of fallen out of favor of doing monthly TBRs recently. I just haven't been feeling them, but I realized there are still like some books that I definitely want to get to before the end of the year. So I have 14 books that I want to get to in either October, November, and December. So first off, I'm going to start with my arcs that I have. I have 3 arcs, and I always try to read an arc in the month before it's released, and so 2 of these are released in November and 1 is being released in December, so I'm planning on reading these in October and December. So first up is The Donut Trap by Julie Tieu. This is being released November 2nd, and this is an adult contemporary novel, and so this follows our main character who kind of has moved back home and is helping her parents run their donut shop, and I've seen it blurb as like reminiscent of Kim's Convenience, which is a sitcom that I adore, so very excited for that. I think she like ends up getting the help of like an old college crush to help her with the store, and then like stuff happens, it's a romance happens, so I'm excited to pick this one up. And then next, also being released in November, I have Jade Legacy by Fonda. This is coming out November 30th, and I am absolutely thrilled that I got this as an arc. I'm very shocked that I got it, but very excited. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Greenbone Saga series, and so the whole series is about a mafia family in this second world kind of Asian-inspired setting where Jade is magical and the kind of the mafias of this town run around controlling Jade. And the first 2 books were great, and I'm very excited to read the conclusion to this series. And my last arc, which is coming out on January 11th, is The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sulein. So this is an adult fantasy. I believe it's a standalone, I think, and it is a retelling or just inspired by the moon goddess from Chinese mythology, and I know nothing about Chinese mythology, so I can't tell you anything about who the moon goddess is or her story, but I'm excited to read this. I've been into mythology retellings recently. They've all seemed to pique my interest, so I'm very excited to pick up one from a new mythology that I have not picked up one from before. My next category is I have 3 books left from my 5-star prediction video that I have not read, which is shameful because I made this video in January and my intent was to pick books that were being released in the first half of the year, and I was like, oh, I'll read these and then I can do another video for the second half of the year with second half of the year releases, and I still haven't finished the first video, so the timing of that did not go great, but I am hoping to finish it by the end of the year at least, and so I have 3 books left on that list that I have not gotten to yet. 2 of them came out in January and I pre-ordered them and I still haven't picked it up because this is just who I am, I guess. This is just who I am. So first on that list is Hollow Smoke by H.M. Long. This is the first book and I think it's a duology. I know there's a sequel coming out next year. Not sure if it's a duology or there's going to be more after that second one. But this follows a priestess of the goddess of war who has been banished from her lands for disobeying her goddess when I think the goddess wanted her to like kill someone and the priestess was like, no, I don't want to. And then after she's been banished from her home, like her home gets destroyed by like raiders, and so she comes back and discovers this, and she's going on a path of redemption with her goddess and potentially revenge for what happened to her home too. And she like gets embroiled in some kind of like war between the gods of some sort, I think. I have heard good things about this, so I am excited to pick it up, but that's also what I said when I pre-ordered it, so hopefully we'll actually pick it up this time. Next up, I have another January 2020 release, and that is The Mask of Mirrors by Emma Carrick. Emma Carrick is a writing duo, one of whom is Marie Brennan, who has wrote my all-time favorite fantasy series. And so I was really excited to pick this up when it came out, and alas, here we are, months later. And again, it's just who I am. I have no explanation for this, but I do definitely want to pick this up soon. I've heard glowing things from people who have read it. I'm very excited. This book follows a con artist who's trying to like trick her way into a noble family to I think like steal gold or something. And I remember reading in an AMA with the authors that this story was like based on like a tabletop RPG game they played. Like, I don't remember if it was D&D or just like a similar type of RPG, but it was based on an RPG they were playing, and that's kind of how they wrote the book. Was one of the authors was a character in the campaign, and the other author was the like the game runner, like the game master of their campaign, and that's how they kind of wrote it, was like when they're with the character, the author that played the character would write her, and when they were doing the other parts, the other author would write it. I think that sounds really cool. And I think it'd be fun to read just like a story that's kind of like a D&D campaign, because I mean I play D&D, I think that'd be fun. So again, this was on my 5-star prediction, so I'm expecting and hoping to love it. And my last of those leftover from my 5-star prediction video is The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. This is an adult, potentially romance, might just be contemporary. Her past 2 novels, one was a romance and the other was marketed as romance, but really wasn't. So I'm not sure where this one's going to land, but this one does sound like it's going to land on the romance side. But either way, I'm excited because I liked both of her previous novels. So this follows a main character and her sister who are road tripping to, I think, a wedding. And on their way, they end up getting in a car wreck. And in the car wreck is the main character's ex. And they're going to the same wedding, I think. And so they end up having to carpool. And I like road trips in romances. I like forced proximity, so hoping to love this one. Next, I have 5 books that are series continuations that I want to definitely work on for the end of the year. Hopefully I'll read more from series to get my series list down, but these are 5 I definitely want to read before the end of this year. And first up is Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the second book in the Devabad trilogy. I read book 1 this summer and really enjoyed it, and picked up book 2, and I definitely want to get to this one before the end of the year. Hopefully I'll read it early enough to also just get Empire of Gold also read before the end of the year. But for right now, I'm just committing myself to wanting to get at least book 2 read before the end of the year. So yeah, I really enjoy this series, and I'm hoping I will love book 2 even more than book 1. Next, I want to read The Lost Plot by Genevieve Cogman, which is the 4th book in the Invisible Library series, which is a series about this kind of like planar library that collects like magical books or important books from different dimensions and different worlds. And we follow Irene, who is a librarian, as she travels between worlds, kind of on these little quests to get different books. And there's also kind of like an overarching storyline about her and this arch nemesis of the library that is being played out across several books. So I read book 3 over the summer, and I want to make sure I pick up book 4, but before I've let too much time go before picking it up. And this is a series like I don't actually want to read back to back, but I want to read them like tossed in as like short little palate cleansers. So definitely want to pick this one up before the end of the year. Next, I want to read The King of Atolia by Megan Whalen Turner. This is the 3rd book in the Queen's Thief series, or the Thief series, the Queen's Thief theory, not sure exactly the series name. So I thought the first book was it was fine, but then the second book I liked a lot better, and so I'm definitely interested in reading the 3rd and continuing to just like get in this world of this political intrigue between these 2 kingdoms, and I'm excited. I've definitely, especially since I've heard, again, this series gets better as it goes along, so definitely excited to continue with this series. And then lastly, I have 2 that are in the same series, which are Bitterblue and Winterkeep by Kristin Cashore. This is the 3rd and 4th book in the Graceling Realm series, and so Bitterblue is a reread for me. I read the original trilogy back when I was probably 10 years ago, back when they were coming out, and then Winterkeep came out, I think, at the beginning of this year as like a sequel. So I reread Fire this month, so I want to continue and reread Bitterblue, and then read Winterkeep, which is the new one, and I have not read yet. And so these are also library books that I've kind of had out for a little bit. I've renewed them like twice each, and I want to get to them because I kind of feel bad about just renewing my loan, want to return them so other people can read them. So definitely want to get to these, hopefully sooner rather than later, before the end of the year. And then lastly, I have 3 books that aren't really any category like the others. These are just kind of 3 that have been on my shelves for a little bit and just kind of feeling in the mood for them. So the first is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is the 1st in an adult fantasy series, and the 2nd book is coming out, or will have just come out, I think, by the time this video is posted. I'm not sure if there's more books after the 2nd or not, but having seen kind of like the 2nd one coming out soon, like seeing it around as like a new release coming soon, has like re-spurred me being like, dang, I gotta pick up the 1st one because the 2nd one's about to be out, and I can just read both. So I'm definitely excited for this one. I've heard it's like dark school, but like not really a school. It's like survival of the fittest school, and that intrigues me. And I've liked everything I read by Naomi Novik. I read Uprooted and Spinning Silver and a couple of her Timur books, so I'm definitely excited to pick up another book from an author I've enjoyed. Next, I have The Huntress by Kate Quinn. A little bit of a genre swerve here. I haven't read as much historical fiction recently as I used to, and so I bought this at the end of last year after loving this author's other book, The Alice Network, and I've just been sitting on it. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm in the mood to pick up some more historical fiction. I think I'll pick up this one, see if the Alice Network was a one-off as far as me loving her book, or if I love another one of her books, because she has a lot of backlists to read through if I like a second one. So this takes place post-World War II, following several characters. We have a Russian female fighter pilot who got shot down over Germany and is now being hunted down by a Nazi murderess named the Huntress. And then we have this war correspondent turned Nazi hunter who in turn is hunting the Huntress. And then we have this other, I think, teenage character who gets this new stepmother who's this like kind of really soft-spoken, quiet woman from Germany, and he starts to kind of discover some of her secrets. So I think this sounds really good, and I'm excited to pick up another one of Kate Quinn's books. And then lastly, I have The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. Once again, another genre swerve from my heavily fantasy list here into mystery. So I've had this since I think it was a January book of the month that I got. Let's see. December. I got this. This was a December 2020 book of the month, so I've had it for a hot minute. Have not read it, but I really want to because it sounds really good. It's a Jane Eyre inspired mystery set in kind of modern day in like in suburbia, and like I love Jane Eyre, so I'm really here for that. So I want to finally pick this one up. So that is my 14 book kind of end of the year TBR. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them below. So I hope to get to all of them. I hope you get to see my thoughts on all of these in the next 3 months of videos, and I will see you in my next video.